on a spinning ball. Okay. I'm not sure about that theory because it's pushed in schools. So as soon as something's pushed by government in schools and NASA, right away, red flags raise for me. Okay. But I'm also not saying it's flat earth either, because that's got some issues with it as well. I feel like we're a different shape altogether and more energetically held together. But yeah, I've said that a lot. So I'm just, I'm just repeating old stuff I've come up with. Okay, so we're looking at humans out there in the universe, other humans. Interesting. Yeah, none of these cards are yeses, by the way. So I feel like there might be soldiers out there, but I don't get a group of humans living somewhere. No, I'm going to say no to this, actually. There's a no to this, but there is a yes to soldiers. So the idea that there's soldiers, people that they're using as soldiers somehow. Maybe on the moon, maybe Venus, they send them to Venus. Various different, maybe Mars, different areas or planets or dimensions. Maybe it's dimensions they're going to. But yeah, there's soldiers that get sent. Yeah, so yes. But as far as a group of humans, so a whole group living somewhere, that's a no. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. And it looks like it would be really hard to maintain a large group somewhere else. Okay. All right. The more we know about this, the better. And here we've got the this is our advice around it. So just even around wondering about things like that, we've got the 5 of Wands, which is like battling things out, duking things out. So that's interesting. I feel like it would be too hard, because this is a difficulty card next to another really difficult card. I feel like it would be too hard if we were en masse somewhere else to remain sovereign. We would likely be an enslaved race. So I don't think it's possible. That's what makes it hard. We couldn't just, it's like, we would be new somewhere, I guess, on some other planet. And I don't think we'd be welcomed per se. Like, we'd cause a ruckus is what that's saying. And it would be hard to remain sovereign beings. Probably because we'd be so dependent also. Like if the place isn't set up with the kind of air we breathe that we need, and the plant life and the food, the kind of food we need, I feel like it would be too difficult to maintain a large group. But they do send, there are definitely individuals known as soldiers, because that's my soldier. And it's even my good military card that go far and wide, I think, in the universe or dimensionally. Wow, what a great question. I thought it was a great question, whoever wrote that question. Now, the second one that was interesting brought to my attention, and I had to look this up. Okay, and on it is in the news. I found it in CBC, but the person sent a clip or a post that was from Rebel News, and I just didn't look believable. It was so absurd. But guess what? It turns out it's true. So they're locking down areas just like they did in the pandemic. Remember when you couldn't go walking in, for instance, where I lived, we couldn't go to the parks around us. Okay, so there's large parks and reserves, and even Banff National Park's really close. It's a couple hours away, or an hour and 45 minutes away. We couldn't go to the Kananaskis, which has wonderful trails and waterfalls and nature areas. We couldn't go to nature areas. They were actually roped off. Okay, right away, before anyone really knew what the pandemic was, leading me to believe that they knew a long time in advance they were going to do this. Okay, now they're doing it again, only they're using climate change, it appears, or maybe they're just, this is a trial balloon for seeing how people feel about it, but they're using climate change as an excuse. In other words, the wildfire. So these fires that they call wild, which aren't wild, by the way, all of them have been proven to be started either from new weapons and or actual humans starting them. I mean, it's everywhere exposed that these are not wildfires. Some of them, very rare ones are, but mostly they're started by humans. And it's been escalating with that. And of course, we know it was designed by the deep state to scare everybody about climate change. And we know that's a hoax. Okay, at least I know it's a hoax. I don't know about you guys, but chime in if you don't think it's a hoax. Okay, so let's look at that clip from Nova Scotia, just the first little bit of it, Coco. Let's play that for them and so they can understand what they're saying here. The one from Rebel News, the first one I sent you. Coco. She might be doing other. No, Coco, go back to the climate change one. Go back to the, yes. Let's listen to this guy. Sorry, I should have told you this before we started. Let's listen to this guy because I got a feeling we want to know what they're exactly how they're spinning it. Let's have a listen.
We are restricting travel and activities that really aren't necessary for most of us. Hiking, camping, fishing, and the use of vehicles in the woods are not permitted. Trail systems through woods are off limits. The fine for violating any of these bans is the same as the fine for the ban on burning, $25,000. Please don't do anything that could unnecessarily put you, your family, or your neighbors at risk. This situation sucks.
We are in an unprecedented.
Okay, that's enough. We don't want to hear from that guy. So then they go on to play Turdo saying the same thing, how it sucks. Okay, so I guess that's what made me go red flag. Is this a really old video? And is this from the pandemic lockdowns? But then, of course, it was just put out a few hours ago. And then I looked it up, and sure enough, CBC is reporting the same thing about Nova Scotia. So no, that was a legit clip, but they added these old clips of Trudeau, so it got confusing. Anyway, so share that and share anything you find about it, because it's such a big, hoax, to shut down. And this is in like the main season that people want to go out in the wilderness. It's all through August. They're shutting it down, something like from the 2nd or the 5th. I can't remember the date. So right away in August to most of the way through August. So it's unbelievable that they would try to pull that right at the height of tourism and or people wanting to go camping and having time off. So what, you're supposed to just stay in your little city and in your little cubicle? Like that's what they're getting at. So this feels like a white hat op to me, but let's have a look. Let's have a look at that, around that whole situation. Who's actually pulling this? Like, it seems to me, if we have a capitulated government, that would be white hat psyop, trying to get you to realize just what a bunch of total, scammers and liars these guys are. Your government. Okay, let's have a look. And remember, I've been getting for years now that certain areas in certain countries, like for instance, in Ontario, in particular, for some reason, Montreal area, Quebec, they have some of the worst stuff happening, like in all of Canada. Ontario and Quebec, and now it looks like Nova Scotia, have some of the most draconian rules and laws and just absurd things. And I feel like they're really using those spots. They're like hot spots with the white hat agenda, to expose the deep state and the WEF. This has been my perception for a long time. And it looks like they're using Nova Scotia to expose. They were going to lock down. So they can't lock us down for a virus anymore because too many people went down the rabbit holes, even to the extent of we're even questioning, of course, some of us have known all along, are viruses even real? They've never been isolated. It's gone that far, right? So it's all a bunch of BS. Doesn't mean people don't get sick, but usually it's because we're getting sprayed to get us sick, and our food's making us sick, and that's the processing that happens, and all of that being an agenda of the deep state. Okay, so we've all figured that stuff out. Okay, now they're going to try. It looks like the white hats are going to expose the climate change lockdowns, because that was supposed to come after the illness lockdowns. Okay, so virus lockdowns, then climate change. If the virus one didn't kill us, they're going to lock us all down for climate change. Let's have a look at who's doing this agenda here in Nova Scotia. Am I right about that? Or is it legit the government's actually trying to pull that? Like, for some weird reason, they're saying you can't drive in those areas. Like, somehow driving in the area is going to start the fire. Like, it's so weird to me. And by the way, Alberta, in particular, southern Alberta, Calgary, is having the wettest July and now August in practically the history of the place. It's known to be the driest time in Alberta, in particular Calgary, and usually the fires are rampant. So for some reason, they're showing us nonstop rain here in Alberta. Well, I'm not there myself, but I just hear about it in Alberta, and in particular the Calgary area, where it's nonstop been raining for weeks and weeks, apparently. So it's like, really? Because it's never like that, ever. In all the years I lived there, for how many years? 35, 40 years. Never was it like that. Okay, never. Like, you were lucky to get rain sometime in between June, like by the end of June, you were done your rainy, and then all the way till September. Maybe you're going to get some blistery rain in September, and then snow starts in October, kind of thing. Okay, there was never rainy times that like they're having now. So yeah, I feel like it's engineered, but it's all trying to teach us something. Okay, so here we've got the Three of Pentacles. So we're asking about Nova Scotia and their draconian little lockdown they're having here. So yeah, they're absolutely trying to get people to understand your freedoms are being taken away. And they're literally trying to, excuse the term if you don't like it, but piss off, because that's what it feels like. They're trying to really get people grumpy about it. And it looks like it's working. I feel like it actually because this is the normie kind of in the middle card, what's everybody thinking about? These are us here. A lot of people that are awake there, like who would be watching a channel like this in Nova Scotia, they know it's all BS. They're not letting it stop their freedom. Okay, and they're likely you're going to see where they might be getting those fines. I hope they get off from those fines, because this looks like it's absolutely to wake people up, and it's a white hat op to wake people up. Now we've got the Three of Wands here. They may stop this sooner than later. So the whole thing was put out just at the very end of the retrograde. By the way, the retrograde ended yesterday. And I feel like there's still the shadow period right up until Monday. Monday, it'll feel like your feet hit the ground running. Okay, it'll feel like rubber to the pavement on Monday. And trust me, you'll know what I mean. Energetically, you're going to all of a sudden feel like a rush forward. And even on the full moon on Friday, you're not going to feel it as intense as usually a full moon is. Okay, and even on the Lion's Gate, okay, you're still in the fog of the in-between time just after a retrograde, which can sometimes be the worst part of a retrograde. But by Monday, you're really hitting the pavement fast, right? So that's just so everybody knows energetically how things are going to move. But this does look like it might even get stepped away from sooner than they say. So they might lift the ban. Okay, so they're absolutely trying to show you. Okay, so they're shockingly showing you just how dysfunctional the government is to do that. This is like a fear porn kind of card, and fearing. They're trying to get you to fear, or the shocking revelation that the government's, locking people down in fear again. Okay, that's going to really tick people off. Even normies are sort of not having it. And I also you'll see a lot of people disobeying that order. Okay, and maybe even going up against that $25,000, ticket they're supposedly going to get. So yeah, this is a big old psyop, you guys, to wake you up that was an agenda as well by the deep state, and just how absurd it is. Okay, yeah, you can't go in nature. You know what I mean? They're going to restrict. Doesn't that sound like the Hunger Games? Think about the Hunger Games. They couldn't go in nature. Okay, they couldn't even go hunting for themselves. They had to just take what was doled out. Okay, in no universe do I want to be in that kind of position ever. That's why we got to go through this, what we're doing. Okay, let's look at August. So Thursday, August 7th. Just look around it, because these are important dates coming up with that 8 of August, so 8/8 Lionsgate, and also we've got the 10th. Those are sort of big dates that have been thrown around here in the truther movement. Let's have a look, and just in general, spiritually, that 8/8 date is known, all across spiritual platforms as a really big deal. So we just want to see what's happening. So this is Thursday the 7th. Oh boy, we've got the devil there. So some kind of showing, oh boy, some kind of somebody really outs themselves as a deep stater. It's a woman, it looks like. Well, we got a few. I mean, we got the not a woman, but pretending to be a woman, Macron, creepy creep. We got that person. Absolutely showing true colors. By the way, they dropped their lawsuit as soon as they found out Candace Owens. And didn't I say nothing was bad was going to happen to Candace Owens over this? Like, at least not coming from their end. I don't think I got they would drop it, but I got it was a nothing burger. Okay, because it would it would just fade away or whatever. And that is what just happened. They dropped the lawsuit. Isn't that amazing? But something else here, it's looking like somebody gets a big exposure on somebody. This could be a water sign woman. Okay, but there's plenty of those in the deep state and dark cult women. This could be Hillary, but there's something drops about somebody here. It could involve financial misdeeds, but honestly, I don't want to hear about financial misdeeds anymore. I want to cut to the chase and talk about misdeeds against humans. Think about that frazzle drip video. They should literally flash that around for the public to see just little bits of it. Make sure everybody knows that's real. Frazzle drip's real. Look that up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, but you won't find it on mainstream. They'll tell you it's a conspiracy. Anyway, horrifying, disgusting crimes against humanity. So I don't even want to hear anymore about somebody spent taxpayers' dollars. Yeah, that's already bad enough, but no, never mind. These guys are killing people, raping, pillaging, and oppressing humanity. It's way deeper than that. So we're kind of done with tippy-toeing around. I'm done with it. Okay, so see that Two of Pentacles there? Yeah, it looks like this day gets a little tricky with somebody, some news about somebody. Okay, and then, but doesn't look like they get rounded up about it though, which is unfortunate. Now we've got the Two of Pentacles, but it does get everybody looking again at this person. Now we've got the Four of Wands here and the Seven. So anybody who thought there was anything good about that person's definitely, even normies are starting to go, okay, that's not a good person. So whoever that is looks like a woman, possibly a water sign. So some big truth coming out about somebody there, or a story about them anyway that really shows you their true colors. Let's look at Friday, August 8th. So this is the 8/8. Some people think of it as a portal. I think there's lots of portals. As soon as everyone thinks something, I think it's like the universe goes, no, we're not gonna It kind of like plays around with us that way. As soon as you think for sure that's a date that we have to pay attention to, I feel like White Hat and even the bad guys will walk away from using that date just because everybody's watching the date. You know what I'm saying? They want both sides here want to be surprising. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so we've got the Lovers here. So that's a government kind of card and government agreements and some kind of stress around. So there's stressful government relations in the public eye. Well, there's lots of that going on. I mean, just look at the fake Carney situation going on with supposedly Trump and Carney and the whole, anyway. All of this fake stories they talk about what's going on with all this financial jimmy rigging all over the place with Trump. I don't think any of it's about what they're saying it's about. It's not about tariffs. It's not about, those are code words. It's about other things. But anyway, so you're going to see more of that, it looks like. Strategic posturing by, in particular, Trump or against Trump, okay, and getting everybody worried about something or worrying for no reason. So worrying news about what's going on with the tariff situation and or with Trump's sort of online presence and what he's saying about what he's going to do. As we know, he's been kind of boisterous of late, and kind of getting under people's skin and on people's bad sides, it would appear. Even the truthers are just, some of them are starting to drop them. Okay, but remember in the Zodiac I got, he'd have a turnaround. So that's interesting. I can't wait for that. Okay, so here we've got a disappointment here around, so temporarily set back again. So this could involve Trump and could make him again, shine him in bad light. But I feel like it's a temporary setback. Okay, and we're going to move from it. And he could really turn that around where you'll see the truth about his actions. So a setup that could further sort of damage his reputation, even with the Patriots and the truthers. But then I feel like it quickly leads to sometime this month where that turns around, because this card says this is temporary. He's going to come back on top again, it looks like, by the end of the month. Okay, I hope that's true, because it's getting a little hard to navigate, either that or show us that he is part of the deep state. Like, I don't believe he is, but you know what I mean? Like, let's stop with the plan, right? Let's stop dangling the carrots. Okay, so now we've got Saturday, August 9th. Okay, and by the way, the 8th, not only is it the Lion's Gate, it's actually just on the cusp of a full moon, and the full moon's on Saturday, August 9th, early in the morning. Okay, so a really good night to do an abundance ritual, in my opinion, is Friday, August 8th, for a lot of reasons, right? But you might want to really put it out there by Monday, repeat it out there, because it's still a bit of a retrograde hangover sort of thing. So Saturday, August 9th, let's have a look. I'm different than lots of people. I like to call for things on full moons. And I know the moon isn't what we thought it was, but we've been using it in that way for a long time. So I think it created that energy to be true. We create our reality, remember? And I also like to release energy that I don't want around anymore on new moons. To me, that makes more sense. Full moon is abundance and calling, and new moon releases. But people do it the opposite of me, as well. Okay, so Saturday the 9th, let's have a look. We've got the 3 of Pentacles there. Okay, so money stuff. Okay, so money stuff, some truth about our financial system. That's certainly been leaking out on the regular. A lot of people are getting wise to what's really going on. We've got more ways to, like, I feel like we're going to get a peek at something that's already been developed in the background to make our financial system run better, or the truth about, it's almost like they're giving us little hints. It's not all the way out yet about a new system. And that we might hear some big news around that on Saturday the 9th. But there's a careful card here, but all the cards look financial here. Well, three of them, 3 out of 5. Okay, and then there's some kind of this is interesting. This card can be about truth and integrity, but also about lawyers and law and something legal. Okay, and then this could be a legal card as well with the King of Pentacles. So maybe we've got some careful and just the beginning of something coming out. So it won't be all the way out, but we get a hint about something legally action, some legal action taken against a form of abundance, not for us, but for the elites. So I'm thinking maybe the, I don't know, like the big taxes systems, the big ways they take our money from all over the world. So there's so many ways that could be, but like some big system, maybe the banking system, but some kind of truth leaks out, or it's like they're divulging these things slowly, but it's not the whole thing, but some big news, let's say, about something that will eventually lead to justice, but it doesn't lead to it that day. So that's Saturday the 9th. Won't lead to it that day, but it'll be the beginning of a setup for really taking down a system that only gives money to the elites. Yeah. Okay, wow. So lots of financial kind of feeling energies here, or just stories coming out. Sunday, August 10th. Let's have a look. That's the last day I'm going to look at. Let's see what we got here. So we're getting really close with that to be over the retrograde, and you're hours, away from where things start to really move, but we're still a little stuck energetically there. But then Monday really, really gets crazy. But see that tower, crazy and energy all of a sudden really flowing a lot easier and faster. Okay, so retrogrades always hold things up and kind of muddle things. And we've certainly seen that in the last 3 weeks where things are just weird. Okay, people are just saying, things are so weird. Yeah, they're definitely weird. And this was a weird retrograde. Okay, so we've got 8. So we've got some things developing here, but it's under the surface. So we hear about something, and I think it's this community that's has a potential to really take down a system, but we're still, the illusion of its being there is still there. Okay, we hear rumblings in this community about that coming down. So something in the background goes down. We hear about it in our community, but there's still a lot of lies around it and no mainstream media coverage of it. Okay, but we know, and more shocking things possibly to do with, or more shocking revelations that we weren't told about, that they knew about, around aliens and or other dimensional beings, whatever you want to call them, non-human entities that I believe have been traveling here for quite some time and probably live among us. So there's some kind of outing of, and having a peek about that, or understanding how much has been withheld from it. So a shocking revelation about how much we haven't been told, and then how much the general population's been lied to, and barely hanging on to the big fib about aliens and how they don't exist, basically. Okay, and now we've got the star, so that's we're moving towards, and this may not happen obviously on the Sunday, August 10th, but we're moving towards more disclosure. And somebody else could also either interview or talk to, or somebody, maybe there's a video put out there. If anyone sees this on Sunday or sometime in the coming week, share it with us, but maybe of a soldier who's like in a real believable story, and because it'll be true, about one that lives off, so a human soldier that's been living off Earth. Okay, so that setting up more truth about what goes on beyond what we see here on the earth plane. So knowing, that would open a whole can of worms if more stories like that got mainstream or got more play, even in the community, even in our community. We need some real truthful versions of, and somebody we can really trust to tell us about what's been going on in other planets and or dimensions, if that's what they are. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. That concludes our world news for August. I also noticed the pets were more needy than usual. Like right now, Dusty is crying because I'm not helping him jump up on the counter, which he's very good at, by the way, to get to his food dish. But all of a sudden, he needs me so much the last couple of days and moving in, and it'll just get worse when we're fully in that new moon.
So could you say in a way, Janine, that we're all going to maybe feel a little bit like needy, like we all need our mummies?
Well, it could affect people in different ways. Yeah. You might feel like the nurturing mother or really pick up on other people's needs more than usual, or feel even put out by people's needs because you'll be really maybe heightened to that, depending on how it affects your chart. Myself, and I think you're a Venus in Cancer, aren't you?
Yep, that's right. Wow, you remembered. Thanks.
I remember, yeah. And mine's a Mars. So I have a Mars in Cancer. You're a Venus in Cancer, which made us pretty good roommates, I think. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty good. Like Mars, so my life force, so what I want to do, like your doing planet, what motivates you planet, Mars, is in Cancer. I'm motivated by nurturing others or being nurturing. And it's interesting because it's really activated in the new moon for sure. Like I said, I've been kind of taking care of people here leading up to, and I feel like it'll just get worse in the next couple of days. Just doting on people.
Oh, that's so, well, Janine, I see you like a great mother caring for our community, like having the care, the concern of all, the whole group, the whole community. That's what I'm feeling.
Well, I care about people coming into their freedom, right? So like I would never, I don't like to victimize or make people need, like neediness is not attractive to me. So it's not in that way. I don't want to be needed like that. But I absolutely feel like I want to help people walk through this safely, what's going on, and get to a place where they feel empowered and they can feel their freedom, because I've really felt mine for a really long time. And I feel like it's accessible, it's attainable, and we don't need to be locked into the weird enslavement grid we've been locked into. I feel like I've been skirting around it and not living in it most of my life. And I just want to help people do that because it's a great feeling. Really is.
It really is. Now, I noticed there that we have the 5 of Pentacles in the position of self.
Yep.
And I'm just seeing, Earth Dragon is here saying, a side note, I ordered Shungite from Carla and was presented with a bill for tariffs. So already paid shipping charges, WTF. I think this feeling that we're experiencing kind of that constriction feeling with that 5 of Pentacles, which is, like being left out in the cold.
Yeah. And also like Cancer energy there's a thriftiness to a Cancer if you're doing it right. And they like to watch how they're spending and just be really practical with it. It's stunningly practical, actually. Can be depends of course on the Cancer, and this card says, so we might even be feeling a little lack of, and like where we are put out by something like that would put you right out, right? Of course we knew that was going to be coming. I mean, I knew for sure that we're going to get some of that scare. Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So this also choosing to walk away from. We're not going to be okay with something just because it's comfortable anymore. We're prepared. These people are prepared to be uncomfortable to
Yeah.
do something more meaningful than what's offered here. This is only a 50% card. So something's being offered. In this case, literally, it looks like by a Christian church. So these pagans are being offered comfort from the cold and the storm, but they would have to become Christians to get it, and or bow down to this whatever God resides in this place, you know what I mean, and or go along with whoever's running this place. Okay, and they're just choosing not to. We'd rather be out in the cold than be beholden to anybody and
Yep.
just for handouts. Like
Yep.
we're gonna make it on our own, and that could also be what this card's meaning. We're there. We're in that place, and because we're like we've said no to, this community said no to a lot of things. We're not complying, or a lot of us aren't anyway, and we're working on getting more and more in that mind place or that space. Okay, and I feel like we're going to be happy that that we went this route. We're going to be happy we didn't just get the what's in the arm. I know we're on YouTube, so I have to be careful. We're going to bypass that just for the comfort of, and we're going to bypass some things being offered out there when we know that where they're coming from and that it's not coming from integrity. Yeah, I feel like this whole community is really learned to do that over the last 5 years. And a lot of us came with that already. We already were there. We're there already. We're going to bypass jobs that insist we do things against our personal freedoms. We're going to bypass handouts.
Yeah.
Remember when they were handing out donuts and lollipops for what?
Right. Right.
Or let's line up and get a donut and a lot. Can you imagine giving away your health for that, or your long-term health for that, or even your life potentially? Unbelievable. Okay, so then we got the Three of Cups here. We're going to celebrate because we're doing this, I feel like. So this is kind of going bigger than that question you asked. You asked for an overview, but this feels like a big overview, like what's happening in the world right now. We've got the moon in the past, which is interesting because we're talking about a Cancer new moon. So that's interesting. The moon in the past. The moon could be the big mystery that we're just coming out of. So we're coming out of this foggy mystery of what, like nobody really knew truth. Like truth was so elusive. It's been so elusive. Like you certainly didn't see it out there in your education system. You didn't see it in your government. You didn't see it in you didn't see it in any form of media. So it's been a big mystery what's really been going on in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. But we're ending that. This card ends that. We're done with being completely kept in the dark and in fear. We're done being loose. We're done. Okay, so in the dark and fear, we're finished that. That finishes it. The illusions are breaking. It's going to be really hard as people come out of their varying stages of illusions that they thought were real. It's going to be hard. So there's still a lot of hard work, especially for people, because these middle cards are kind of normie cards, or sort of the rest of the world cards, and these are for the community. So I feel like it's going to get a lot harder here in the rest of this summer. I guess we can't say spring anymore. We're in summer. So the rest of the summer and then the fall, I feel like everybody's in for a bit of a rocky ride. But I feel like if you've already done the bypassing and taken your freedom back, it's going to be a lot less of a rocky ride. You're going to be more the guides for the others as they go through the stages, right? The levels of awareness.
Totally. And I love what you're saying, Janine, about there's going to be some discomfort along the way, right? So it's like, okay, tariffs, whatever what we're seeing as, like we have to, there's a lot of piles of that we have to move, that we have to bulldoze out of the way, right? It's like, and we can look at short-term discomfort for long-term building something entirely new, right?
Mhm.
But we're going to need time to clear the old. And I've always seen that that's going to be more of a job than we might want to imagine. And, but what I see with those cards too, I love the 10 of Cups in the center, the 3 of Cups beside it. It's like we can be celebrating and enjoying ourselves while all that is getting bulldozed out of the way. It's just don't take it too personally. Like, okay, maybe I won't be able to travel everywhere right away, or there's going to be these tariffs or whatever. But we're making way for this whole new turning over of a new leaf, which is going to be so much better. Like you said, it's going to be so much worth waiting for. So it's giving the opportunity for these systems to transform. And, we would love it to be like wave your magic wand, but 3D is pretty dense and there's a lot that has to get worked through.
Yeah. And this could be just that, like temporary, remember the 5s, temporary setbacks and discomfort, exactly like you said. And just like that woman was saying, what she needs to hear though is it's going to be temporary. I don't think that's going to last forever. I feel like there's good things coming with this celebration card. I really do feel like that, but we're not quite to that stage yet. We're still in because there's a lot of people that just need to realize some things here. They have to go through all these motions. Humans have to feel and know something for themselves. You can't just tell them things, especially big spiritual things. You can't just tell them what's been going on. They literally need to figure it out themselves, or it won't sink in. They'll make the same mistakes again. Like they have to literally experience it. That's a human trait. And so that's why I think things are playing out the way they are. That's why there's this strategy that's been put in place, and it feels like manipulating even, but it's absolutely, I think, necessary because of human nature. And then we've got the 3 of, but we're getting really close to the all new territory where we're going to be creating the new. And a lot of people have already started doing that, by the way. And it's good to at least start in your imagination doing that, and imagining your world without all of these, first of all, restrictions on you. Like it's even there's rumors going around that some states are lifting, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat or whatever, or if you know this, Michelle, but the need to have a license to drive your car, because it's actually really against your personal rights. For all the licenses they have, you have to have a license to marry someone. You have to get permission from the state, okay, to marry somebody, to go fishing, to go, all of that's overstep. It's been overstep for a really long time, and we've been bending over and putting up with it. Just letting them license every single thing. Like on your own property, you want to build a structure. Okay, you got to go get permission. Like, never mind. Like,
yeah, you just start to, you open that up and see how all pervasive that is. And like you said, people are slow to change. They really need to see things clearly spelled out and to feel the crunch or feel the pinch before they're going to kind of get potentially, not our community, obviously, but before they're going to potentially get motivated to, go a different route, take matters into their own hands. Janine, I'm really curious, you just said about this is a great time to sort of vision, to plan, what does the new look like? I was just yesterday and the day before, I woke up with this thought, like, I haven't even declared to the universe what my version of a free world looks like, what my version of peace on earth looks like. So I started just kind of writing some stuff out, and I was like, it's actually harder than you think. It's and I think that's because we've been so, in a way, held in hostage, and our imaginations have been held hostage. So do you want to just maybe pull some cards on like how we can use this time over this new moon for the next 3 or 4 days to at least get in underneath the the hood a little bit and, stimulate our imagination and just open up our hearts a bit, because look at the astrology. Like, and I've been seeing it in my cards. You've been seeing it in yours. It's been in my forecast the last few weeks. It just is looking better and better and better. So what is it we're supposed to do with this time? How can we make the most of it?
There's 2 more 5s. Oh my goodness. So a lot of people are going to feel frustrated, grumpy even. And new moon in Cancer, that does make sense, because Cancer can be a little like, think about crabs. Right? They can be crabby, right? And like, I absolutely love Cancers, by the way. And having a Mars in Cancer, I absolutely love Cancers. But and lots of beautiful Cancer people around me. But they can get kind of grouchy and crabby. And I feel like that could be something we're all going to have to sort of be careful, because there might be other things aspecting. And depending on your chart, where we could get real itchy and scratchy about a few things. Also, what just happened over the weekend was absurd. Okay, look at the whole Middle East thing. That was just like theater, really. Mm-hmm. And how Trump was appearing to handle it, but he was talking about a whole different war, in my opinion. Okay, I guess I can't even say that word here on YouTube, but he was talking about a whole different situation. Okay, that usually these 5s indicate to me, if you guys have been watching my work. Okay, so he was talking about the spiritual one and or the information one. Okay, and I'll just call it 1. You guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, so look at this devil here we've got in the middle. Yeah. Okay, be deviled by. So this, I feel like we're going to have more of this. And I got this when I did my zodiac for the website there, the Tarot by, whoops, better not say that either, website. You guys know my website. Anyway, yeah, I got to be so careful in this. Okay, I got that everything was going to not be what it seemed like. Like they're saying this, but then within hours of saying that, have 4 different things come out that have nothing to do with that. Like it doesn't, nothing's going to make sense this month. And well, it hasn't for quite a while, but it's gone absolutely crazy doing that this month. It's nothing will be what it seems like. Nothing's what they say it is, or even not even close. Everything's a calm, and everything's deeply layered in other things going on. And I feel like that's exactly what we all had that experience this weekend. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a new thing's developing.
Yeah. So this is interesting, because I was just having the thought while you were laying this out. Oh my God, look at this, right? I was having the thought, just like sometimes, things come to the surface when the coast is clear, right? It almost feels like we are at a place, because of a whole pile of different things, a lot of our spiritual work that many of us have been doing, and this energy that shows up in the astrology that's so positive. It's almost like it's safe for them to play this card now. It's safe for them to do this maneuver now, because it actually is less about creating if they wanted to choose a time to do a horrible maneuver, it would not be when the astrology is perfect, right? Like, they would not pick. Just think about it, folks. And I remember we went through this like a few years back, 2 or 3 years ago, where I was pointing out, okay, here's the astrology. If you're going to pick, and I actually predicted when they were going to declare the queen was dead. I predicted it accurately the week it happened before they did it. On my own YouTube channel, you can go and watch it there. And I said, because it's the perfect time to get us all feeling morbid and lamenting astrologically. Yep. So they're going to hijack it onto astrology. That's how you can tell this is different. If you wanted to take the world down a chaotic, warmongering path, you would not put it on this new moon in Cancer when everything is so bright astrologically. So that right there indicates that we are looking at something that is done in a way, it's done at the safest time of the whole year. And why is that, right?
Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, all of a sudden something new develops or comes on the horizon, and the whole like it gets everybody's eyes on. So like this is like the big population eyes, not just the truth or world eyes. Everybody's eyes on. Okay, and we become enlightened through the process of whatever this is. And even this card saying we become enlightened even through this weekend. So even though it's not making sense, all of a sudden, somehow psychologically, they're preparing us for the new twist. Okay, and it's actually because this card says you become enlightened through the hardship or hard time you just came out of. Okay, so we are coming, like it is difficult times. It's difficult to understand what's going on. Nothing really makes sense. But if you look at it from a more objective viewpoint and think about 5D chess, and I know that's years ago I was talking 5D chess, but we're still doing it. Okay, 5D chess moves, and you look at everything as like a hint at what's really going on, and you have to really look below the surface. It's creating a lot of people to really, really use their discernment, intuitive knowing, and all of their senses have to be engaged to figure this out. We cannot sleep through the world anymore. We can't just la 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 la. They told me to go to get a job, have a family, to, you know what I mean? We can't do that anymore. Like, I love my parents, don't get me wrong, but they literally just bought the whole, okay, my mom had 7 kids because the Pope told them at the time, and she believed the Pope, that she shouldn't use birth control. She literally told us that. Then finally she figured out by the time she had 7 and had some really bad health back issues because of it. That was too many for her figure, like her body to carry. Okay. And everybody's different. Like my mom's mom had 18 kids. Okay. And was a different build and stronger woman. But my mom by 7 was really, really harmed by having that many children. And a lot of people would be, but other people can have 15, you know, so I'm just saying, in her case, she just believed what she was told, and their whole generation was doing that. She just believed not to breastfeed because everybody shamed her for doing that. So in the, 50s and 60s, she didn't breastfeed any of those babies. And like she used formula, and who the heck knows what they were putting in the formula? Like, can you imagine? Like, and she could have nursed all of her kids, and that would have been easier for her and made life so much easier. But no, they told her no. Oh, so she listened to them, right? And she was a really good, staunch Catholic because she was brought up that way. Never, ever, ever questioned it. It was like I questioned everything from the minute I was born. I was like, I don't know.
Right? Now, interesting, because we're talking about new moon in Cancer, which also relates to, women's fertility and conception of children and so on. It's like, okay, so interesting. I've noticed that stories that I've heard where the priests were still pushing no birth control, have as many babies as you could. I had a friend, he told me his mom had 21 kids. And on the final one, the last one, the priest came to visit and said something about, we expect you to have something like he expected her to have another one or something. We think you can manage another one. And she said he was no longer welcome in their home, and she stopped going to church. That was it. But it took her 21 kids to draw that line, right? Meanwhile, that was still happening. This friend of mine, he was in his 70s, and his, so this was his family. He was one of the kids. So that's how recent that is. Meanwhile, when did the eugenics program start? Yeah. So we've had them on the one end telling people have kids, because it's still part of that old agenda. They needed a workforce. They needed, all the factories run by, minions doing all the work, right? But But by the time, like, you know, they haven't given the memo down the, to the bottom of the barrel there to say, oh, stop pushing, you know, let's get some contraception in on here, right?
Yeah.
They're already trying to, like, you know, kill us off on the other end. So that's how crazy it is. Like, if you listen to it, the narrative flips all the time. It's just like similar with the climate narrative. There's a great article called The Climate Yo-Yo, and it's basically going back over the last 200 years to mainstream, you know, like New York Times kind of headline news about, oh, we're going into an ice age. Oh, actually, we're going into global warming. No, we're going into an ice age. Like every 20 years, they changed it to another extreme thing, right? Yeah. And it's like, this is the craziness, as you're saying, Janine. We have to learn to think beyond just what's being fed to us and think rationally about the world we're in and what makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. And intuitively, like not just rationally, intuitively. Like we have to feel beyond, like it's a psychological yo-yo out there, like kind of like what you're saying, and a lot of psyops. Look that word up if you don't know what that word means. And because of that, we need psychological intelligence. So stepping away even from, you know, like some of the ways we were brought up in school to think. We need to think about why, you know, why this is being done to us. We need to understand what gaslighting is, because we're all being gaslit. We need to understand what like deep evil looks like. We can't quit. We have to quit avoiding knowing that there is that here, that people do heinous things to children, to other people. Like, it's horrifying. And we absolutely can't be naive anymore. It's not time. We can't be naive, and we can't get away with being naive anymore. It's not going to work going forward. We also have to take absolutely responsibility for our choices. So that whole woke agenda, that whole wow, everybody's responsible for my feelings. Just gonna give a tiny example of that, just for instance, and there's way bigger examples, but I was in a coffee shop in line, and there was a coffee drink there that was specialty coffee, and we all know that specialty coffees obviously are going to have some sugar probably, and probably cream products in them right away, because we're not just ordering black coffee here. And the person ordered the specialty coffee, didn't have the word cream in it, but, you know, it's a specialty coffee, right? So then the person was making the specialty coffee and adding the cream to it, because there was actually whipping cream going into it. And the person who ordered it, the woman, she screeches, "Is that cream and a dairy product you're putting in there?" And the person was like, "Yeah, right. It's right on the menu that's in here." And as if it was his fault, she went, "I am lactose intolerant." And get this, she said, "I could die from my allergy with that." It's like, okay, lactose intolerant, you don't die from, but whatever. Okay. But so being all dramatic and like gaslighting him, like he should be taking care of her health and worrying about what she's putting in her body. And she's the one with the intolerance. It has nothing to do with this guy making the coffee. Okay, I was so offended. So I piped up and I said, "You might have wanted to mention that while you were ordering, or before you ordered your specialty coffee." I said, "Have you ever heard of a specialty coffee that didn't have a dairy product in it? Are you kidding?" I just couldn't. I wasn't having it. Right. And she ended up like backing off on her, blaming the guy making the coffee.
Oh,
And
great.
the guy,
Right?
it's like, "Oh, you're not getting away with that, you little goof." This is a 30-something-year-old making it someone else's problem that she's lactose intolerant or whatever she is. If that was you, wouldn't you ask, no matter what you were ordering, "Hey, does that have," if you could die if you drank something dairy, wouldn't you want to know every time you're ordering something? Like, absurd that someone else is responsible for her health.
so this is where it gets, unfortunately, we tip into the arena of mental health, right? Because basically we're looking at a toxic kind of, I want to say a toxic kind of, well, Murdoch says entitled or entitlement, where it's like we don't even have a real code of ethics around how to be polite, right? How to have polite conversation. What is a respectful way to like speak about your needs even, right? Like the fact that you would just screech at somebody, like we're already way off out of integral alignment, and we're into a mental health crisis, which is people have no sense of what it means to, you know, they're broken basically, and it's spilling out into day-to-day activities. Like, you know, if she spoke like that to the guy at the counter, imagine how she speaks to her husband or her children or whatever, right? Or to herself for that matter. Like it's scary, right? I mean, it's really sad too. Like we've got big things to sort out, and a lot of it comes down to everybody doing their personal work, right? And leading by example, and also not tolerating that, like you said, Janine. You know, clearly if people get away with talking to each other like that, it's going to be, you know, and they're all about tolerance but or non-tolerance. Like, I think, you know, that's another one of those yo-yo things in that woke agenda is it's like, you know, you're supposed to be able to express yourself and have a meltdown and screech at everybody, but then you're not supposed to offend anybody. So it's like, it doesn't, those two things don't run. They don't balance out very well, right? So it's a very sad scenario. And we've got to, by how we conduct ourselves, and like you just did, Janine, you know, support each other in creating a new code of ethics, a new code of conduct about how we look after our own needs and speak to each other about that, right? Yeah. Look at this. There's a comment here. She will only, you know what, in her pants for a little bit.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, Janine. Good story. Good story. Well, okay, we have a little bit of time left. I could do a little halftime thing here and show some of the stuff that I want to share with you. So let's take a moment to do that. And yeah, we'll go back and add this new moon in Cancer. Let's see, what have we got? We've got this one, Shamanic Breathwork, Part 2 with Salvia, 10% off with code BREATHE10. That could be a great thing to do right now over this new moon when we want to basically tune inward and do some self-care and connect inside of ourselves. And okay, we've got a Floraline bundle, 10% off with order with code BM Summer, floralinefarm.ca. Do you know anything about these products, Janine?
Well, I know she's got a really nice salt soak or several salt soaks that are amazing. And the soaps are all like, they're made literally with ingredients that are all healing. Like her ingredients are all really healing and meant to work really well with, depending on the person. You'd have to read each ingredients. Everybody's going to be different, but they're all healing ingredients and natural ingredients. And like when you read what she's got in there, and I've smelt some of these, like I've been at, like she sent a few to Jean-Claude and I, and just to get the scent, and it's like you can't even fathom the freshness, and the essential oil smells are just, and the way she combines them. Oh my goodness! I'm a huge bath person, as you guys know if you know anything about me. So that's why I'm so excited. I got a tub, a bath, and oh my goodness, I've not been able to have a bath. I just can only have showers for like weeks and weeks, and I just tubs are essential, and everything she makes is like for a delicious tub time and even a healing tub time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks. I just realized I didn't properly share the tabs. So there we go. This is the 10% off your order with the code in capital letters there. And I will just go back and share this other tab about doing the breath work, the shamanic breath work, part 2 with Salvia. She is a powerful being. Mm-hmm. And this is guaranteed to move some energy if that's what you're needing. Oh, now you see it's not letting me switch. Oh, there it is. You have to click on it twice, apparently. Sorry, folks. Okay. So shall we wrap up, Janine, and maybe just do another card pull on what do we need to know going forward, getting us through, like it literally feels almost like week to week at this point, and getting us past this new moon into next week. What would be the most valuable for us going forward?
Moving out of troubled water.
Oh.
So through information. So swords are thoughts and words. So using your thoughts and words, okay, to move you. So even though we were all those 5s when we first pulled, a lot of people feeling frustrated, feeling all the frustrations of the crazy week and weekend we just went through with the world events and everything, and what are supposed world events or alleged world events.
And
right?
people's reactions to that, right? Yeah. Everybody around us reacting to that.
Just getting yo-yoed around by fake news coming from everywhere, including truthers and Trump himself, as far as I'm concerned. And I know it's likely necessary, but it's really frustrating, right? But we can move ourselves out of it by seeing the really big picture. This guy sees, it's an eagle view card. So look at the big picture of what we're doing. Okay, so we're taking apart the deep state. Okay, and we're losing the mechanisms and all the dark magic that was put on us as a humanity. We're shaking it off, and we're learning to reclaim ourselves and take responsibility for our lives again. We're taking back ourselves. Okay, and we're not going to be, we're becoming sovereign beings. And guess what? That takes work. It doesn't just happen. Nobody's going to just hand you your sovereignty. You actually need to go take it. You need to actually behave that way. Just start behaving that. You're already there, right? Just assume the position and start behaving like you're a sovereign person. Mm-hmm. That's your first step to it, right? Okay, so moving out of troubled water through just the way we're going to view it. That was our first piece of advice. And self-care, like you said. And of course, it being a new moon, so you're going to want to feel like, you want to be nice to yourself or others, depending. Like for me, nurturing others can feel really nurturing for me. Okay, but that's not everybody. Some people need to nurture themselves. Mm-hmm. Okay, so whichever part of the spectrum here, but nurturing and coming into that nurturing, whether it's to your own self and or others or a combination. Now, in the past, so we've got that King of Wands, which is like the King of Wands is a really out there and fiery kind of energy. So maybe we're coming from a period of time when I did feel more social even 2 weeks ago kind of thing. And depending on what was going on astrologically, I did feel a lot more, but I feel like that's not what it's time for. That was in the past. Keeping mindful of boundaries and really expressing your personal truth. She's not afraid to do that. And I feel like that's that Cancer, like, because they can be taken advantage of because they are really nurturing and loving, but maybe understanding that, if you do allow yourself to be taken advantage of, you will eventually, the pendulum will swing and you will feel resentful. So before you get to the resentful place, find your personal boundaries. And like I did in that lineup, I just spoke out my truth. I'm telling you, the whole room appreciated it. I'm telling you that right now, because that woman was out of line, and we're letting them be out of line. Okay, it's just not okay, and we got to speak up. What isn't okay, right? Okay, so yeah, I'm sort of famous for that, though. So if you've ever been in a coffee shop with me and people are being really, really foolish, I'm always going to get involved. Like, I'm a Taurus ox and I just can't not get involved. I got a Venus in Aries and I will get involved if you are talking really loud, really foolish stuff.
Yeah,
I'm going
definitely.
to chime in because you're in a public space and I got to listen to you. So,
Well, that's right. That's right. Definitely.
yeah.
Oh gosh, look at this.
Yeah. Look at the outcome.
Wow, look at this. 2 queens and the Empress.
Yeah. 3 of Cups. I love it too. So I feel like we're going to move out of this, and maybe we'll just move ourselves out of it. If we just get the really big perspective again and personally take responsibility and absolutely maybe have a little sense of humor. She's got a great sense of humor. The Queen of Wands. She's got great boundaries, but she's intuitive and has a great sense of humor. She doesn't take any guff. Okay. Nobody's getting away with anything with her, but at the same time, she can laugh about things too. So a bit of that and just staying true and integral to your own knowing. Okay, that's what she does. Okay, I feel like you can have some enjoyment here and try having a little fun with what a facade it is out there. It's literally a facade. Most of what you're seeing in politics is a theater, and I'm not kidding. And that doesn't mean you just sit there and eat popcorn. We got to be involved, okay, because we're all in this together, and we got to get ourselves out through the other side of this. So I'm not telling you to just sit on your laurels and watch. That's not what I'm saying when I say that. But you do need to understand that there's a reason why they're playing out what they're playing. Okay. And it's try to notice what's actually being translated to you or shown to you. Okay. Try using your intuitive knowing and your intuitive, your perspective. Like she uses her personal integrity. That little black cat symbolizes her intuitive knowing. It means she's in touch with it, but she's also using her wisdom and past experience wisdom and truth. Yeah.
These positive cards, Janine? Like, I mean, the boundary queen in the very center. And when I see that Queen of Swords beside the Empress, I feel like, and with all that, the 3 of Cups and the Queen of Wands, I feel like there's a lot of fertility in the sense of our minds are fertile. There's like, we could like literally feel and imagine things differently. Like we're going to start, if this is a time of imagining a new earth, imagining what it could look like, all those 5s and that devil that you had in the last spread, it's like, if you feel grumpy, if you feel like there's a lot to push through, just get through it, but don't hang on, because the 5s are temporary, right? We want to keep, when you're going through hell, keep going. We want to keep going till we get to that 6 of Swords. And then you could be surprised at what might just spontaneously arise, like getting together with friends, like ideas could spring in this week. We could have a sense of imagination, creativity, what the future could hold. We might not know how to build it yet, but you're going to feel it with that 3 of Cups and the 10 of Cups. So enjoy this ride, folks. Make the most of it, I feel.
Yeah.
Because we do know, Meg has warned us, and you and I are both seeing our cards, Janine. Yeah. We could go back down under for another little dunk here pretty soon.
Oh, so boy. Yeah.
Really make the most of this week and let your heart be light and have a good sense of humor. I love it. That's such great advice. I mean, it's good advice all the time, but it does feel like we can afford to take a breather and and do that right now. Carve out that space to have that. So cool. Well, we're coming up onto the hour. Have you got anything else you want to share with us, Janine, before we sign off?
No, but just so great to be here. And I'm just so thankful for this community. Like, honestly, I couldn't even have made it through this far.
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful that I have this community to share the thoughts. And like, we're going through this together, and really doing this all by oneself. I don't know if you could do it, honestly. We need support, you guys. And even if we're finding it online, that's okay. It's just a privilege to be here. And it's such a great opportunity, you and I, that we have on the Beyond Mystic, even getting old friends coming together on this same channel together. I just feel really, really, really blessed right now.
Really, really blessed. Thank you for that reflection, and so much gratitude to you, Janine, for being my connector to get me here. And also, that we have been hanging in there in solidarity. And, I love to point out to people, because I've been doing the truther thing for quite a while. And everybody keeps saying, nobody's waking up. And I'm like, are you kidding? When I was back in the day, there really was nobody waking up. And it's all perspective, right? Like, I see expanding into being able to have these very interesting conversations with more and more and more people, even normies, than ever before. So from my perspective, we are soaring into this expanded perspective and freedom and sovereignty. We are going in flying colors here, folks. So please don't be discouraged.
Yeah. And also, if you speak out verbally, mentally, and you're writing in your tweets and speaking about how nobody's waking up, that's exactly what's going to keep happening. Okay, let's create people waking up by assuming they are. Assume something, like in the face, my favorite saying, in the face of all evidence to the contrary. Assume it is to your best vision of what it could be, instead of what your fears are. Like, go with what your vision is and what would be the best thing for everybody. Assume that's the thing instead of what your fears are. Like, choose to speak about it like it is happening. And then you'll bump right into it.
Yes, absolutely. Plant your vision and your ideas in fertile soil that you want it to grow in, not in the dead ground that it's not going to take root in. Like, send it where it will start to grow into something. And this is where we have to let go of control a bit, right? And as readers, as intuitives, we get this, because you can't do what we do and control it. It is not a controlled thing. You can control your heart, the way you approach it, your internal world of integrity and your frequency. That's what you can control, but none of the process do you have any authority over controlling. And so that's another reason why looking at things like, the mystical and the metaphysical is so good for us, because it reminds us that, we don't have to control everything to see magical results on this planet. We just have to know who we are, stay in our hearts, have good integrity, and put our visions into what we want to see grow, instead of always, as Janine is saying, putting them into what you're afraid of, right? Let's turn our attention.
Lên thản nhiên cười nói, ta thấy chúng ta hôm nay kiểm đến đây thôi. Phản đại nhân công vụ gấp gáp, vậy cứ bận đại sự trước đi. Phan Mạch Ly như được đại xá, vội vàng tạ tội rời đi. Dương Lanh nhếch mép cười thầm nghĩ, đến lúc Giang Vân ra tay rồi. Sau đó cái lũ tham quan này sẽ giống như con thiêu thân lao vào lửa. Nghĩ tới đây, Dương Ngân kề môi vào chén trà, ngẩng đầu lên, chén trà một hít sạch. Y khinh miệt nhìn hai bên một chút, quét tất một tiếng, song đao ở tay ở trong bóng đêm chiếu ra hai hàn quang hình cung thi lạnh, lạnh lùng cười nói: Giang Vân nhận lệnh đến quan. Trương Trung Công Công đang cố thủ ở trong sở thế lại. Y khinh miệt nhìn hai bên một chút, quét đất một tiếng, song đao ở trong tay, trong bóng đêm chiếu ra hàn quang hình cung uy lãnh, lạnh lùng nói: Công công cứ việc mở cửa. Quốc công gia và Chi Châu đại nhân đã phân phó cố gắng không được sát thương dân chúng, cho nên mặt tướng không cưỡng ép đuổi đi. Nhưng nếu mặt tướng hộ tống công công rời đi còn có người quấy rầy sinh sự, vậy thì giết ngay không bàn. Giang Vân vung song đao lên, trấn thanh hét lớn: Oanh, bổn tướng định vạn người. Một đám gà đất chó kiểng, ai là địch thủ của ai đây? Giang Vân ngạo nghễ nhìn xung quanh, trong đêm lạnh chỉ nghe thấy cây đuốc đón gió bay phấp phới. Ở giữa có một vị tướng quân, song đao tung hành, sát khí đầy đồng. Ngoài ra lại càng không có một tiếng động. Trương Trung vừa thấy uy phong như vậy thì không khỏi mặt mày hớn hở, vội vàng từ cây thang bỏ xuống đất, xé cổ họng nói: Mong mở cửa để Giang Du Kích bảo hộ giúp ta về thành Bá Châu. Lý Ban Đầu vội chạy đến phía trước, vẻ mặt đau khổ nói: Công công, đại nhân chúng tôi làm sao bây giờ? Trương Trung trừng mắt nhìn y nói: Đại nhân các ngươi cút về công an đợi phán xử lý. Trương Trung vung tay áo, cửa chính chậm chậm kéo ra. Ông ta đỡ dưới sự bảo vệ của mấy tên thân tín hàn đúng thoát ra ngoài. Giang Vân sát một tiếng, song đao trả về bao. Sau đó xoay người nhấc Trương Trung lên ngựa nói: Công công chịu khổ rồi, lại cưỡi chung ngựa với mặt tướng. Chúng ta trở về thành Bá Châu nói sau. Trương Trung không ngừng nói: Được, không sao. Xe kiểu kia đã bị loạn dân đập hư, cũng không thể ngồi được nữa. Dân quân và bảo hộ ta về thành. Mấy tên giáo úy quan quân khác cũng để mấy người thân tín của Trương Trung từng người leo lên ngựa. Đúng lúc này, trong đám người có tiếng hô to: Bà con, Trương Tiêu Bì trở về Bá Châu, tất sẽ không bỏ qua cho chúng ta. Nhất định sẽ dẫn đại quân huyết tẩy Cố An đấy, không thể bỏ qua cho gã. Trương Trung không chết, Bá Châu không yên. Giết lão cẩu, thiên hạ thái bình, giết. Nói xong, trong bóng đêm một viên gạch bay ra, vang một tiếng là mũ giáp của Giang Vân lệch đi. Mặc dù là sớm trao đổi rồi, Giang Vân vẫn là giật mình. Tiên sư bà ngoại như nó trước. Mộc Kính cái tên tú tài này chuyên này tìm ai đây? Gạch ném còn rất chuẩn, người không đánh ngựa thì đánh Trương Trung ấy. Người đánh nhất lão tử thì vở diễn này sẽ không cách nào hát tiếp được rồi. Mũ giáp bị nghiêng, Giang Vân kêu cao một tiếng: Không hay, bổn tướng trúng ám khí, đi mau. Nói xong hai lời liền thôi rung dây cương, trên mã bốn vó tung bay trốn vào đồng hoang. Tiếng loảng xoảng bang, mọi người tập trung nhìn. Cậu Giang Du Kích đứng ban đầu có đỉnh đầu mũ sắt lảo đảo trên mặt đất, cách đó không xa còn có nửa cục gạch. Đại tướng quân nó chạy thoát, bóng dáng cũng không nhìn thấy nữa. Kiều Chi Huyền vừa đi ra cửa chính, nhìn thấy đại tướng quân vừa rồi khí phách 10 phần, chỉ chịu mộ gạch, liền sợ tới mức như con cháu họ rùa bỏ trốn mất dạng, không khỏi phải nhìn thẳng. Lý Ban Đầu thấy tình thế không ổn, cuống quýt kéo lấy gã, xoay người quay lại chạy. Một bên chạy một bên hô: mau đóng cửa. Đám dân chúng vừa thấy tình hình như vậy, dũng khí phút chốc hùng mạnh, gạch viên như mưa bão ập tới. Mấy chục tên lính lập tức học theo sau Giang Vân phóng ngựa liền trốn. Còn mấy tên tới lại còn chưa ngồi vững lại kêu thảm té ngựa, bị dân chúng chen chúc xông lên, trong khoảnh khắc đạp nát thành bùn lầy. Kiều Chi Huyền và vài tên sai nha đang bận giữ cửa, thấy tình hình này sợ tới mức tay chân nhũn ra. Hai cánh cửa chính ngay ra nửa ngày không có đóng lại. May mắn khắp nơi không ngừng vang lên tiếng giết: Trương Trung không chết, Bá Châu không yên, giết lão cẩu, thiên hạ thái bình. Những dân chúng tâm trí đơn thuần bị kích động này trong nháy mắt chỉ có Trương Tiêu Bì và một đám thế lại, còn Kiều Chi Huyền mới cần lại đóng chặt cửa chính. Kiều Chi Huyền và đám người Lý Ban Đầu khiêng cửa nặng, Lý Ban Đầu tức giận oán trách: Dù cái tướng quân chó má gì, căn bản chỉ là thùng rỗng kêu to, cần mẹ nó chỉ được có cái miệng, cái cục gạch dọa sợ đến tay giáo quân mà chạy thoát. Tần Trang Chủ hứng chi mãnh liệt, tiến đưa Ôn Thần cũng không biết nói gì. Quan văn tham tiền, võ tướng sợ chết, Bá Châu, đây đều là quan lại kiểu gì vậy? Kiều Chi Huyền căn bản không để ý tới bọn họ, gã vẩy mông lớn lên như heo mẹ nhanh ghé vào khe cửa, vội vàng nhìn ra bên ngoài. Ngoài cửa nhóm đông dân chúng một bên hô lớn: Trương Trung không chết, Bá Châu không yên. Một bên giơ cao cây đuốc theo dấu đám người Giang Vân rời đi, căn bản không ai quay đầu lại liếc gã một cái. Kiều Chi Huyền trong lòng liền nghĩ: những dân chúng này rất nhiều người cũng ngồi ngựa vào lừa đấy, dân chúng Bá Châu mà kỹ thuật cưỡi ngựa lại tốt, chỉ mong bọn họ đuổi kịp Trương Tiêu Bì. Ta tính nghe được tên khốn kiếp này nếu chết, nó không chừng ta chỉ bị bãi quan. Nếu gã còn sống, tất cả tội nghiệp đều do ta gánh vác. A Di Đà Phật, người hãy phù hộ chứ công công gã đã bị người ta đánh chết đi. Kiều Tri Huyền rất ít cầu thần lắm Phật, lần này mới cuống lên ôm chân Phật, không ngờ lại linh nghiệm. Gã chen chúc ngồi trên ghế vũ quan, một thân thịt béo cũng đè lên. Bụng căng tròn, đen con chim nhỏ trên y phục kia trống lên rõ ràng. Người trong nhà dựa theo chỉ bảo của gã đang thu thập gia sản châu báu. Kiều Ngữ Tù mặt mày nhanh nhó nhìn, không nhìn được thở dài. Chi Châu đại nhân triệu tập các huyện trấn quan viên nghị sự, tội của mình nhất định là chống không pháp. Quan thì không làm được rồi, trước hết cũng cho người trong nhà đem của cải thu thập xong đóng gói đưa về quê nhà thôi. Các vụ bê bối của huyện trấn quan viên, gã nhiều ít biết một số. Lương trước Trương Tiêu Bỉ đã chết rồi, nếu dùng cái này cùng áp chế, Chi Châu đại nhân không dám đem tội toàn bộ đặt lên đầu hắn. Kiều Tri Huyền như là Phật Di Lặc ngồi trên ghế, than thở, đang sầu não. Lý Ban Đầu vội vàng chạy đến tiến vào, kinh ngạc nhìn người nhà Kiều Phù bận rộn. Sau đó thi lễ với Kiều Tri Huyền nói: đại nhân, Hoa đại nhân cầu kiến. Hoa ngọc. Kiều Tri Huyền uể oải ngẩng đầu lên. Y không phải nhà dưỡng thương, chợt nghe tầm vấn tội ra rằng: y đến gặp bản quan làm gì? Ta bị y hại còn chưa đủ thảm sao? Lý Ban Đầu lúng ta lúng túng, khó nói. Kiều Tri Huyền hừ một tiếng, khoát tay nói: gọi y vào đi. Lý Ban Đầu như được đại xá, vội vàng lui ra. Trong chốc lát chỉ thấy Hoa Thôi Quan bị hai đình dũng sách tiến vào sảnh. Kiều Tri Huyền thì hai tay ôm bụng, cũng không đứng dậy chào đón, chỉ là cười khổ nói: Hoa đại nhân, bồn hệ là hoanh vất vả 20 năm mới có được chức thất phẩm quan nho nhỏ như vậy. Đến nay, tiền đô của bổn viện tất cả đều bị hủy trong tay của ngươi rồi. Quý vị và các bạn thân mến, chúng ta vừa theo dõi tập 164 của Ngược Về Thời Linh. Hẹn gặp lại quý vị và các bạn trong tập 165. Chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đã quay trở lại với kênh Truyền Hình Đại học. Trong buổi tối ngày hôm nay chúng ta tiếp tục theo dõi phần 105 chuyện xuyên không ngược về thời Minh. Hoa Thôi Quan nằm trên ván gỗ cười tàn nói: Quyền thái giả, bản quan cũng là vì dân chúng địa phương, triều đình luật pháp thôi. Có điều làm liên lụy đến đại nhân ngài, bản quan trong lòng thực bất an. Nằm trong nhà bắt đầu suy nghĩ thật rất lâu, đã nghĩ ra được biện pháp, có lẽ có thể giúp đại nhân ngài biến nguy thành an rồi. Đại nhân có đồng ý nghe ta nói không? Kiều Tri Huyền vừa nghe lập tức tinh thần chấn động, giống như quả bóng từ trong ghế nhảy lên, vui vẻ ra mặt mà nói: được, đó là đương nhiên. Không biết Hoa đại nhân, mau mang Hoa đại nhân đến thư phòng của bổn viện, dâng trà, mau dâng trà. Và Chi Châu ngây